Hello, hello. It says I'm live. I thought that I put a flannel shirt on if I don't get too hot in it. Mostly just so that it's like different, the one video from the last video, so that you know which is which. Because I'll probably have both of the thumbnails and titles be the same, like part one and part two. So that was weird. I'll give you guys a minute to find the new stream. That was so annoying. Don't you hate it when that happens? I hate it when that happens. Sherry, hello again. Look at you. You're amazing. So I'm going to open up some biscotti cookies. I don't usually eat sugary things, but I was hungry and I refilled my coffee. And these like biscotti cookies are so good. They're kind of cinnamon. Anna Bees, yay! So I was just going to eat a couple of cookies while we wait for people to find the stream. That was weird. Where did it cut off? Did you guys hear me talking about Leslie Jones? Because I like switched tracks. Did you hear anything about Leslie Jones, or did it get cut off before I mentioned her? She's a comedian from Saturday Night Live and The Daily Show. So if you can let me know if you heard me talking about Leslie Jones, and I'll know if it got cut off before that or after that. Okay, good. That's funny because, yeah, I had just switched tracks. So I guess we'll go ahead with the track switching so that hopefully we don't get derailed again. Thank you for letting me know. So I wonder what it was that triggered it. Yeah, JR Nana was really good about doing the crazy stuff I could barely read. I wonder if our dear musical protege's name, her name, I wonder if that sets off the bot flags. I bet it does. I mean, I fully believe that that's why I've been shadow banned since I started. Is because I started with her, and I kind of talk about everything that they might shadow ban for, even if it's not her. Okay, one more cookie, and then we'll get going. It's just the four of us. I wish I could share with you guys these. Where are they from? I buy them at Costco. That they're just like these little cinnamon kind of like butter cookies. They're so effing good. And I'm not really into sweets that much. They're not that sweet. Is one of the reasons why I like them. So just give me another second. I got a text from one of my kids, and text her back. Eat another cookie, and then we'll get rolling again. And maybe we can just start with funny lady Leslie Jones. So she talks about how upset she is with the direction that our current government officials are going. But she's not upset with them because of the reasons that most people are upset with them. She's upset with them because they're goofy ass mofos. It's hilarious. I'll put a link to the skit in the description. I love Leslie Jones. That girl cracks me up like nobody's business. And we're the exact same age. She was born in 1967 also. Oh my God, these cookies are so good. I just have to have one more, you guys. Sorry, not to be rude, eating on camera. But yeah, I was already on for a long time. And I guess I had breakfast a while before I started. So I kind of skipped lunch maybe. Fred says, I'm here but dozed off. Hi, hello again. Anna B says, I love sweets. Fortunately, I'm pretty good without them because I have to watch my sugar intake. I love ice cream, like Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Dark chocolate is my favorite. Ben and Jerry's New York Super Fudge Chunk, my absolute favorite. But another top one is Haagen-Dazs Vanilla Swiss Almond. But there are some cookies I really like. Brussels. Have you guys ever had Pepperidge Farm Brussels? Those are so ridiculously good. And I saw them in the store the other day and I bought them for my kids because I was like, I wonder if my kids have never had these. I try not to keep them around the house because I can't really control myself too well around Brussels. Okay, one more bite of a cookie and then we're off. I do like some chocolate chip mint too. And bees and Ben and Jerry's Cherry Garcia sounds like a weird flavor, but it is really good. Um, they used to do one called Cool Britannica that I've just been furious ever since they discontinued it. It doesn't even sound that good, but it's so good. It's strawberry ice cream with fudge covered shortbread chunks. It's to die for. I have a sweet tooth on a no sugar diet for 2 months now and feeling awesome. I know I've been a little bit under the weather. You know, I had that poison ivy and the allergies and then some other crud I told you guys because I missed a whole day doing a video. I was going to do one from the couch, live from my couch. There's a channel that is called that. I think it's cute. Live from my couch or live from my sofa. Although if it was JD Vance live from his sofa, you wouldn't want to be watching that, would you? Anyway, yeah, I think I still have a little bit of the crud. I mean, I still have the allergies and I still have a smidge of the poison ivy. But yeah, I just haven't been feeling 100%. So is the poison ivy. It's gotten a lot better. It's just I have very sensitive skin. And it was a very lightweight case too, because even though I didn't think that I had poison ivy exposure, there were a couple of days when I thought that I might have. And so I used this poison ivy stuff. I think it's called Temku. My husband buys it, and it's this special poison ivy soap that you put all over your skin. You stand in the shower, but you don't get wet, and you just rub it into your skin for 2 minutes, and then you rinse it off, and it's supposed to prevent poison ivy. I think you can do it with Dawn dishwashing liquid too. But anyway, I did that both times when I thought that there was a possibility of any poison ivy exposure. And so I think that that helped a great deal. If I hadn't done that, I probably would have been hosed. Because I think that what happened was there was some, when I was weed whacking, probably some little baby stuff that we didn't know was there. And so I told you guys about that. I was afraid that if it was there, that it could have gotten airborne and gotten into my eyes or nose or something. So luckily it didn't. But on my arms, my forearms, and then a tiny bit on my tummy, which was weird because my tummy wasn't exposed, and normally my forearms wouldn't have been exposed. But you know, poison ivy, man. I thought maybe it was from the dogs or something, but I have no idea. But yeah, I went my whole life never getting poison ivy until like maybe it was about 6 years ago that I got it for the first time, and I had a really bad case. It was like I was wearing long sleeves. It was when I was gardening, and it was like wrap around on both wrists, but my right wrist was probably worse. And I knew that it was there when I was gardening, and I was trying to be really careful. And it's just like such dangerous stuff. It really sucks, doesn't it? I think it was last summer. Shan had poison ivy and poison oak on top of each other. I was just like, oh man. The worst is that other thing. What's it called? Poison ivy, poison oak. It starts with an S, doesn't it? I want to say Sumatra. What is it? It's the worst. Sumac. See, again, pick up my phone and then my brain works. Poison sumac. Have you guys ever had that? I have not, but I have a friend who had it, and it is so gross. If you Google it, it is insane. And it's just as common as poison ivy and poison oak. Poison sumac. I hate poison ivy. If I get a small patch, it ends up all over. Yep, there you go, Sherry. You know the sumac crap. Oh, yeah. I have a friend that had been doing landscaping around her own house, and she had no idea what it was, and she pulled down a whole bunch of it and was just covered. It's a nightmare. And then I know somebody else who did like the most dangerous thing in the world, which is burning poison ivy, because it will kill you. It'll get in your lungs and kill you. And she survived, but she was hospitalized and she almost died. And she knew it was poison ivy. She just didn't know you weren't supposed to burn it. So crazy. I always say life is so freaking dangerous. So, talking about Leslie Jones, the woman is hilarious. Linda McMahon, OMG, you guys. Right before I came on to my first live today, I was watching a Senate hearing with her. So, she's the WWF billionaire who was appointed to destroy our educational system of our entire nation. And she's doing a damn good job of it. She's the one who thought that they were teaching kids in school A1 steak sauce. If you saw that for like 2 hours, she's like doing this presentation about A1. And she was talking about AI, but she didn't know what the F she was talking about. She had no effing clue. She was talking about A1 from grades kindergarten to 12, and how, there was once a time where we didn't even have internet in the classroom, and now we're going to have A1, and I'm going to make sure that there's A1 in everybody's classroom. And she just went on and on and on. And you wonder why nobody like stopped her and just said, hey, you mean AI? It's not A1. So she doesn't know what she's talking about. And like, she gives these opinions about these reports that she hasn't read. So fortunately, the Congress is doing their job and they're grilling her and she's arguing with them. Oh, she's so disrespectful. And she's got this giant freaking upper lip because she stole all the Botox from Gates and Kristi Noem. She got all the Botox in the world and she put it all in her upper lip, and it is so freaking crazy. She's like old with this gargantuan, very still, sorry for hitting the mic, very still upper lip. And it's just gross. Like, why do people do that? Is that like a MAGA requirement to like steal all the Botox on the planet and put it all in your own face and not let anybody have any? Because that's what Kristi Noem obviously did, and that's what Matt Gaetz obviously did. OMG. Good night, Mrs. Amir. Thanks for coming in. Nice to see you. You got to be kidding me talking about the poison ivy in the air with the fire. So scary. Love to you, my dear. Let's see. I'll do a highlight on the one with all the emojis. Did that work? Yeah, that worked. Okay. So, the conspiracy that El Presidente posted about over the weekend, that Biden is a robot clone. He was assassinated in 2020, and for 4 years we've had a robot clone pretending to be the president. That was pretty freaking off the wall, right? That was weird. It's weird that he would retweet that or retruth it, I guess. It's weird that people didn't freak out and say, "Oh my God, this guy needs a straitjacket," because he certainly does. But it wasn't until today that I thought, oh, he probably did that because of all the people like myself saying that there's Melania body doubles, and that like the one that went with him to the Pope's funeral, I don't think that that was her. And it wasn't until that really bad body double, in my opinion. I mean, if it was her, then she just looked like a train wreck that day. And it was her birthday. It was her 55th birthday. And she doesn't hang out with El Presidente anyway. But why would she want to go to a funeral with him on her 55th birthday? And it just didn't look like her at all. Not at all. And I didn't think that at first. I just thought, oh, it's just the bad lighting, right? Just being in the direct sunlight. But no, I don't think it was her. But I think that it wasn't her, and that El Presidente has gotten so self conscious about people recognizing that has a fake of his wife. It's like having a cardboard cutout of her or something to try to make it look like they're still together. And so he's trying to come up with this crazy stuff about Biden. Like, see how crazy that is to say that it's a body double? That's a crazy conspiracy theory. Just like it's crazy conspiracy theory to say that Russia had any election interference. It's like, no, it's not crazy. Like, they've admitted it. Vladdy has admitted it. He's made statements about how he won the election for Trump. Like, well, he doesn't say how, but that would be election interference. Like, why would we have Russia having anything to do with our elections? And then that weird crap that Elon posted. No, it wasn't a post. It was his texts that he made on Signal back in like October when he first started campaigning with Donnie. And like the day when he first did his X-shaped body and showed his belly button on the stage during the presentation or campaign or whatever you want to call it, he sent somebody some texts on Signal that were the type that disappear. But this person screenshot them when they were like 7 minutes old, 8 minutes old. And one of the texts said something about tomorrow we release the anomaly into the matrix. You guys heard about this, right? Tomorrow we release the anomaly into the matrix was something that Elon texted his friend the same day that he started on the campaign trail with Donnie. Tomorrow we release the anomaly into the matrix. And then the next text that I think might have been the next day was something about lasers from space. So yeah, you could say he's just like crazy talk, he's high, right? But the anomaly into the matrix makes me think that it might have been something that they released into a computer system to rig the election. It's just my opinion. It's just a thought. It's just a possibility. And same thing with the space laser. I don't pretend to understand how any of that stuff works, the satellites and the cables and all that, but I think that he knows how those things work. And I think that there was a lot of interference with the election. And I think that that's something that Felon, you know who I'm talking about when I add the F to the beginning of his name, something that Felon can hold over Donnie's head is that if there was indeed cheating the way I think there was. And let me just say that everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All my videos are made for YouTube. It's an infotainment platform. And hit your like button. I'll do all those things that I do on all of my videos because I did it on the last one, but then I got cut off. That's okay. That was a long video too. It was like, I don't know, a couple of hours. Maybe not quite that long. Let's see what it says here. An hour and 33 minutes was how long the earlier one was. And now it says that we've been on for 22 minutes already. So I better get busy, right? Make sure you're still subscribed. If you are subscribed, and if you're not, please consider subbing up. Share a video of mine on like a social media platform or with friend or family. And turn on your notification bell to ring a ding ding. So, if indeed there was manipulation of the voting systems, which it's proven that there can be and that there has been in previous elections, so that alliance, Election Truth Alliance, they have been working diligently to prove whether there was or wasn't manipulation in this past presidential election. And so far, they've only found evidence that there was manipulation. They haven't found any evidence of there not being manipulation. And so if if Felon decides that he wants to throw Donnie under the bus because Donnie's been humiliating him too much by giving him the special gold key to the White House and patting him on the head and saying, "What? I didn't even look at you. I didn't even notice you had a big black eye, you bozo. Nobody wastes their time looking at you." When he said that to Felon, when Felon was in the Oval Office and they were doing their whole goodbye thing before he like ran off with Stephen Miller's wife, and he had his black eye that he said his little kid gave him, and then Donnie says, "Oh, you have a black eye. I didn't even notice." It's like he was saying it to try to downplay it, but to me it was really like, yeah, I don't even waste my time looking at you. Like, I mean, he's so dismissive of Felon. And that's what Jon Stewart really hits home in his last night's skit that is so freaking phenomenal, is like a photograph of E on day one when he's doing his X shape and showing his belly button and just all full of regalia and exuberance. And then the beat up, washed out, shriveled up, black eye, spiteful, neurotic, paranoid guy looking up like this in the White House, in the Oval Office. That was crazy. And just how what teaming up tightly with Donnie can do to a person in 4 months. I mean, it's pretty typical. He uses and abuses everybody. I mean, look what he did to Barry Cohen. Is that the guy's name that was his attorney that served hard time for what he did? Look what he did to Anthony Scaramucci. Look what he did to like Hope Hicks. Remember Hope Hicks? I hadn't thought about her in a long time. I looked her up recently. She was like the Secretary of Communication. She was a model. She was beautiful. She was 6 feet tall. She testified against him in the, I think it was in the insurrection hearings. But, you know, you don't testify against Donnie. I mean, he's right up there with Al Capone as far as he's concerned and as far as I'm concerned. I mean, he's going to protect P. Diddy, it sounds like. I mean, just the fact that he's even saying that he might consider, and he didn't say he might consider, he said he would consider that maybe Diddy's been treated unfairly. Maybe. It's possible, I guess. I'd say that Sean treated everybody unfairly. I mean, dang. Pretty brazen. But remember what he said before he even finished his campaigning, like right towards the end. It was just a couple of days before the size of Arnie Palmer's junk became his topic during a campaign speech. I'm like all distracted by the size of Arnie Palmer's junk. What was it that he said? Oh, that Harvey Weinstein got schlonged. That was his exact words, out of the blue during one of his campaign speech. He's like, "Oh, Harvey Weinstein got schlonged." He's a rich, powerful man. He was treated very unfairly. If our president says something about people being treated unfairly again, or when he says it again, my brain is just going to melt. Like, did nobody teach him when he was growing up that the world is unfair and life is unfair? Like, buckle up, big boy. Life is unfair. Yeah. Be ready for it. That's all he talks about, is how unfairly he's treated. OMG. It's so crazy. Okay, sorry. And I missed that. Anna B says, no, I was talking about the head of education. That crazy woman. Oh, man. And why would you pick somebody like her to be in charge of education? I mean, head of the WWF? She's so gross. And she's so stupid. And then to be argumentative when they've like busted her, when she admitted that she hasn't read these reports, but then she's still making statements and opinions about the topics in the report that she's incorrect on. It's like, just shut the F up, read the report, and then come back. Biatch, give me a break. OMG, I heard that stupid crap. Annabee says, love you all too. Gotta go. See you all next time. Thanks, Sherry. Thanks for being here. Bye, Sherry. Have a great day. That's hilarious, Jazz. I will have to watch Jon Stewart. So, yeah, I already put the link to that in the video that I did right before this one. So, I think it's the very first link is the Jon Stewart one from last night, the freshest of the Jon Stewart. And yeah, it's good. It's hilarious. But yeah, the way Felon was like rolling his head and his eyes were rolling up in the back of his head, I think he was extremely uncomfortable being in the Oval Office with Donnie, because obviously things weren't cool anymore. And it was probably transpired from the comments. I mean, it transpired from everything. It had been snowballing. But most recently, there was that super awkward interview that Felon did over the weekend where the guy asked him about if he has any thoughts or feelings about the college students, the international college students getting their visas revoked. And he was like, nah. And the guy's like, well, that would have affected you, right? You were an international student with a visa. Which, let me point out that not only was he an international student with a visa, but after he was not in school anymore and he dropped out, I think he dropped out, and he started his first business, he was here illegally because he was here with a student visa, not being a student. And when you're here with a student visa, you're supposed to be a student. So he was here illegally when he started that first business with his brother. I think his brother's name is Julian. I think they were both here illegally, actually. Anyway, what was I talking about with Felon and the interview and the guy asking him about that? And then he was like, yeah, I'm not comfortable talking about any policies. Can we just talk about rockets? That was funny AF. Like, I just want to talk about my rockets. I think it was Jon Stewart. It actually might have been Jimmy Kimmel. I put a link to that one in there too, where they were like, that's like the little kid showing up for a play date with his trucks. Like, all I want to do is talk about my trucks. I don't want to talk about anything but my trucks. And it was hilarious when he's like, let's just talk about spaceships. Isn't that the word he used? I just want to talk about spaceships. Nothing but spaceships. And the guy's like, what? I was told that we could talk about anything. And Felon's like, no, no, no. And what a jack arse he was in the Oval Office when someone from the New York Times, I think it was asking him a question, and he was like cutting them off, and he's like, what publication are you with again? The New York Times? Aren't they the ones that just won that Pulitzer that got revoked? And it was just so freaking bizarre. Like, he just thought he was such a smart ass. He thought he was so sharp, and he was just making such an ass of himself. Like, yeah, I'm going to eat another one of these cookies because they're right in front of me. And with the coffee, oh my God, what a great combination. Why does he take up for known pedos? Why doesn't his base, who all accuse Democrats of this, their dear leader is one of them? I know, Anna Bees, I'm in full agreement with you. So now we're going to drop the stream again, right? He was an illegal alien. Mm-hmm. Fully agree. He's ruined his reputation and deserves all of this. Yeah, like he thought that he could come in and dominate our government, which he did, and that it wouldn't have any repercussions when he's not only not qualified to be in the government, he's destroyed so much. And he has the history of being an illegal alien. He has a history of doing a lot of illegal things. A lot of what he did with Doge is illegal, and I do think it will all catch up with him. But he might be able to get immunity from all of that in exchange for ratting out the election fraud. I don't know. Anything's possible. One sec. Okay. So I'm going to get to these things. I started out with my list. Kirby Summers. I asked you guys at the very beginning of the last video. I'm sorry it takes me so long to get back to stuff. See, it's just so nice to not be all time constrained. I'm always on a time constraint. It drives me nuts. I like to be the outer of my own fat, the owner of my own fate. I like to do things on my own time. Don't we all? But, how often do we get to? Anyway, right now I'm doing it on my own time. So thank you for taking the time with me, because I always want to be considerate of my viewers' time also. And I know it can be hard to watch longer videos. There's so much to watch and there's so much to do. So sometimes I try to make them really short on purpose, but I figure if people want to watch them and they're long, great. And if they don't, that's their prerogative. So thanks again for being here. And Kirby Summers is one of Epstein's survivors who has written books about it. And she has a website, and she's currently making videos. She makes some really good videos. And remember my friend that I mentioned, Bob Fitrakis? I can barely say his name. Fitrakis. Bob Fitrakis is the attorney in Columbus who had deposed that guy about election fraud in the early 2010s. And then that guy passed away from crashing his airplane in Akron, Ohio, December of 2008, a few days after Bob Fritakis had deposed him. So, Bob's great. I love Bob. I don't know him that well. I want to reconnect with him because not only does he have all this to do with the election fraud investigating and litigation, he also wrote a book with Kirby Summers. So he's like a Jeffrey Epstein expert as well. He's an incredible guy. I mean, you can look him up. He owns the Columbus Free Press. He has a radio station in his garage. He's a professor at like Columbus Community College. He just does so much. He's incredible. What a cool guy. So it was only last night that I was looking through Kirby Summers' stuff because I was listening to one of her videos. I'll put a link to it in the description. And, I like to have two gadgets. I like to watch something on my laptop the way I do when I'm doing my lives, and then just like look up all kinds of stuff from my cell phone while I'm watching something. And then it's like mind blowing. And it's mind blowing that I even looked at the little tiny, it was like a little tiny book. I can't remember why it drew my attention because she's written several books. And so there were a lot of these little tiny icons on my phone. So, but I touched the one and then it said Kirby Summers and Bob Fritakis on it. And I was like, wait, what? So, I go look into it deeper and it's like he wrote this book with her. And I'm just like, that's my man. I knew I liked him. I knew he was cool. I just didn't know how cool. I just didn't know how much I liked him. I thought it would be funny to reconnect with him and let him know I'm like on the same wavelength. But, that's where he was like 10 and 20 years ago. Like I'm slow. He's way ahead. Anyway, the two insurrectionists refusing the pardons, Pamela Hemphill and Jason Riddle. I wanted to read you what Wiki says about them. And then I wanted to make sure to put a link in the description to this TikTok video of the marshmallow podium of lies. So it's got marshmallows to represent Trumpster fire. It's got marshmallows to represent my favorite Caroline with a K. OMG. And I told you that she might not even be married to the old man that she says she's married to. That they had initially said they got married in December of 2023. And then the baby was born last year, 3 days before the faked assassination attempt, in my opinion. And then now the internet says that they became engaged December of 2023. So she was pregnant before they were even engaged. And then it says that they got married this year, 2025, but it won't give a date. And it says that the date is a secret. And it's just like, give me an effing break. So you guys aren't really married is what you're saying. It's like Pam Bondi and her third imaginary wedding. Maybe not. Anyway, they did a very funny marshmallow impersonation of her in the video that I'm going to put a link to it in the description. It's a TikTok video, so hopefully I won't have trouble with that link. But for the time being, I am trying to go to the link. This is weird. Oh my gosh. You've got to be kidding me. There might be, oh my goodness, there might be something wrong with that last video. It's like not letting me play it. The one that got cut off. How weird is that? OMG, I've never had that happen. How on earth? That is wild. And how funny that I discovered it, right? Because I don't usually try to play videos of my own when I'm on with you guys. That is crazy. That is so crazy. Maybe it'll work now. I doubt it. Oh, I think, yeah, it's been flagged. It's been flagged. Can anybody screen record it before they make it go away? That's crazy. I need to text my one of my mods. One second. Okay. So they're not going to let me look at it. They're not going to let me look at my own video. Unbelievable. It's locked up tight, baby. Sorry, you guys. Technical difficulties. Very, very difficult. JR Nana, it's all your fault. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the WikiLeaks thing that I was trying to get to anyway. That is so funny. And it was Pamela Hemphill and Jason Riddle. So I am just blown away. Okay, so this is a 71-year-old woman, and some interesting stuff that's been written about her. I'm just going to read you what Wikipedia says. Pamela Hemphill is an American former Trump supporter who took part in the United States Capitol attack on January 6, 2021. She was nicknamed the MAGA Granny in reference to Trump's Make America Great Again slogan by social media users following the attack. She was convicted and sentenced in 2022 to 60 days in prison with 36 months of probation and $500 restitution for one count of demonstrating, picketing, or parading in a Capitol building to which she had pled. It says pleaded, but I want to say pled guilty. Hemphill is noted for changing her mind on DT during her time in prison and afterward, as well as for her refusal of a presidential pardon. That's what Wikipedia says. So she's a retired substance abuse counselor. She voted in the 2008 election for Obama, the only time she had voted for a Democrat before the attack. She has stated that she usually voted for whoever her mostly Republican supporting family recommended. She voted for Trumpster Fire in 2016 and 2020, though she had not been to any of his rallies in person before January 6th, instead watching them on television. She was involved in the Idaho State House protest in 2020, which had resulted in glass in a door being shattered. Hemphill was being treated for breast cancer at the time of the riot, having undergone surgery for the condition a few weeks prior. On a Facebook post about her plans to join the January 6th rally, she wrote, "It's a war." The evening before the attack, Hemphill attended an event hosted by a far-right radio host, Alex Jones, posting a video of herself there on her YouTube channel saying, "Let's go to the Capitol. Don't worry. Trump's coming in office." Hemphill arrived at the Stop the Steal rally on the Ellipse late. She heard from different people that Trump would go to the Capitol with a crowd to protest the certification of the votes that would finalize President Joe Biden's victory in the 2020 election. She brought a selfie stick to record the event with her phone. Hemphill pushed past police lines 3 times as the attack began. She was filmed asking for assistance from police after being in the crowd, stating that she had had surgery before going to the doors of the Capitol, disobeying the officer who had told her to rest by a gate. She was later seen in the Capitol Rotunda telling fellow rioters to come on in, come on, have fun, this is your house. She later stated again that she was hurt, telling officers that she had 40 stitches. She was later escorted out by law enforcement. 8 months after the attack, FBI agents arrived at her front door in Boise, Idaho. She was arrested on August 3rd, 2021. At her trial in federal court in 2022, prosecutors argued that she had exaggerated an injury to distract officers from dealing with more violent protesters. She pled guilty to 1 count of demonstrating, picketing, or parading in the Capitol building and apologized for everything she said and did at the Capitol. In exchange for the guilty plea, prosecutors dropped 3 additional misdemeanor charges. She was sentenced by U.S. District Senior Judge Royce Lamberth on May 24th, 2022, to 60 days in prison with 36 months of probation and $500 restitution. She served her sentence at a federal prison in Dublin, California in July and August 2022. Hemphill has stated that she changed her mind on Trump in April 2023, around the time of her 70th birthday, though she began to doubt his election claims during her time in prison. She has credited multiple causes for this change. She participated in discussions about the Capitol riot on Twitter Spaces, exposing her to facts about the riot and the 2020 election. And her family staged a political intervention, which she also said changed her mind on Trump. In June 2023, Donald Trump responded to a post on Truth Social claiming that Hemphill would have to spend more time in jail than Hunter Biden, writing the word horrible. She responded on Twitter, please, and tagged at Real Donald Trump, don't be using me for anything. I'm not a victim of J6. I pled guilty because I was guilty. Stop the spin. She was interviewed by the Daily Beast, to which she stated that she had broken from the Trump cult 3 months prior. She described herself as an ex-MAGA granny on social media. That September, she published an open letter to Congress in which she wrote, I'm not a victim of the government. The Justice Department was not weaponized against me. I was a participant who broke the law. A boyfriend that she had for 12 years left her because of it, and she has stated that she received death threats. Hemphill voted for Biden in 2024 in the South Carolina Democratic presidential primary while living in Summerville, South Carolina, and later supported Kamala Harris when Biden withdrew from the election. Hemphill stated on January 13th, 2025, after the 2024 presidential election, that she would refuse a pardon from felon Trump once he took office, referencing Trump's announcement that he would pardon those convicted for J6 related crimes. She wrote, I'm not going to be bullied by MAGA anymore. As those who went as far as calling my probation officer trying to get me in trouble backfired on them, thinking I would stop speaking out, just give me more confidence to continue. The day after President Trump issued the pardons, she again emphasized that she would not accept hers and took steps to file a letter of rejection. She argued that accepting the pardon would be an insult to the Capitol Police under the precedent set by the United States versus Wilson, 1833. An individual has the right to refuse a pardon. So Yeah, that's the whole thing I want to read to you. And then about her. And then I was going to read to you about um, Jason Riddle. Let's see. Jason Riddle, Wikipedia. And Anna Bees, I'm going to catch up on all your comments here. Thank you. I am too. I always have to run here and there and working. I don't want to work. LOL. I know. I feel like I don't have time to, but then sometimes I feel like that's like my downtime. Oh, it's not letting me tag stuff again. How annoying. Oh well. Just so long as it doesn't freeze up the freaking thing again. Our government has been deleting people forever. Yeah, and deleting YouTube videos, huh? And it's not about Republicans and Democrats. It's about who will be getting along with their corruption. Those who are whistleblowers get deleted. Yeah, they do. I mean, that's always been the case. Um, I speak from experience. I was a whistleblower for the um, King County when I worked at the King County Superior Court in Seattle. And that turned into a 4-year lawsuit that I won, but I don't like to talk about it. Um, yeah, that's why I say the laws that are made to protect whistleblowers, they shouldn't have to have laws to protect whistleblowers. Like you should just be able to be a whistleblower if you see something, say something. But like the whistleblowers for Boeing, right? Let's see. Very, and I felt like that in a sense. I mean, I felt like there was a target on my back. Honestly, I was afraid to take out the garbage into the alley at the house that we lived in Seattle only because of the litigation, not for any other reason. I mean, it's something that I would always do, um, keeping my eyes wide open because it's an alley and we lived in the city. But once I was in litigation, I wouldn't take out the garbage in the alley. I let my husband do it. I wouldn't check my mail either because I was afraid they were going to send me anthrax, which they kind of did metaphorically. I mean, they sent me all kinds of stuff trying to F with me, but not anthrax. Thank goodness. I mean, that's back when that was a thing. During the Y2K, it was right around then. Where are we? Very much a fake assassination attempt. Oh, shoot. What did we say that bothered them so much if you said MZ name? Well, I think it was actually the stuff that JR Nana was talking about with the trafficking stuff, I think. But who knows? I don't know how to screen record. Yeah, I don't either. Alex Jones and Rush Limbaugh were the ones who started the brainwashing of the right. Oh man, Alex Jones and Rush Limbaugh. Like, thank goodness Rush isn't around any longer. And when we all found out he was addicted to Oxy, like that was not a surprise. But Alex Jones is still as crazy as ever. OMG. And he sounds just like Bobby Kennedy. The gravel in the throat. It's like, doesn't it like tear up their throats to talk? Like they should just not talk. Like write it down or have someone else say it or, use AI or something. We're the ones who started the brainwashing of the right, and Fox News stepped it up. I know, and even Fox News has been temping it down sometimes now. But yeah, they still do too much of their Fox News stuff. There are many nurses that are little T's cult followers. Well, yeah, I think there's just a lot of people in general, and they don't think it's a cult. And I read more about what Pamela Hemphill wrote, an interview. I'll see if I might find it, where she's really talking about how you don't realize you're in a cult until you're out of the cult, and then you can realize it. I love the cliche, a fish doesn't know that it's wet until you take it out of the water, because I think that's a great description of a lot of things that we experience as humans, that we don't know that we're in it until we're not in it anymore. Because you can't see the forest through the trees. Like, that's another good cliche to describe it. I feel like we are living in another timeline. So sorry that happened to you, Jazz. Oh, I always think what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And it really opened my eyes. Like, prior to my experience working in the courts and having to go through that litigation against the courts. First of all, I didn't even know that you could sue the courts. I literally didn't. But I also really believed in our system. And I thought that I really believed that there were no victims, that anybody who was victimized kind of brought it upon themselves. And that's a horrible thing to believe, because it's so not true. Like, bad things happen to good people all the time, unfortunately, and good things happen to bad people all the time, unfortunately. So I needed the education, is one of the ways that I see it. But also, it was just good to understand that you can't trust a bureaucracy to do anything except try to protect itself. Any bureaucracy, they're kind of like a beast of their own, it's kind of like a dragon of its own being, that it's going to do everything that it can to protect itself and take no prisoners, and nobody else matters, just the bureaucracy matters. So, if they have to lay you to waste, they don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. They don't take any prisoners, which I didn't understand that cliche either. I thought that meant like the opposite of what it actually means. It just means basically like balls to the walls, right? That's a better way to say it, more direct. Okay. Jason Riddle. There's only two of the J6ers that I know of that have publicly said, I am not going to accept a pardon. This guy says it a little less politely than Pamela. He's younger, and he's a dude. Jason Daniel Riddle is an American United States Navy veteran and former supporter of Donald Trump, known for his participation in the J6 U.S. Capitol attack, as well as subsequently refusing a pardon from President Donald Trump. During the riot, Riddle entered the office of the parliamentarian of the United States Senate, where he stole several items, including a bottle of wine, a book, and a football. He was later arrested and pled guilty to his charges, receiving a sentence of 90 days in prison and 3 years of probation. He was also ordered to pay more than $750 in restitution. Despite his wishes, Riddle was pardoned, along with nearly every other participant in the Capitol riot, on the first day of the second presidency of Donald Trump. The following day, Riddle sent the United States Department of Justice an email rejecting his pardon. Riddle was born in New Haven, Connecticut. He earned an associate's degree from a community college in 2014 and a bachelor's degree from Southern Connecticut State University in 2016. He served in the U.S. Navy from 2006 to 2010. He is a server at a restaurant in Concord, New Hampshire. Prior to the Capitol riot, he was a postal worker and a former correctional officer. Riddle was a participant in the January 6th U.S. Capitol attack. According to Riddle, he arrived near the Washington Monument in D.C. around 12:05 p.m. with two friends via Uber. Riddle advanced to the U.S. Capitol, though both of his friends left to get food. As people began breaching the Capitol, Riddle stopped in a small grassy patch to the left side of the front of the building, where he remained for approximately half an hour, taking pictures and making phone calls. Upon seeing Trump flags inside the Capitol, Riddle entered along with numerous others, witnessing rioters destroy items, including printers and computers. Riddle walked into the office of the parliamentarian of the U.S. Senate, which he stayed in for almost 4.5 minutes. During this time, he found an open bottle of wine and poured a glass to drink before being asked by a police officer to leave the office. He remained in the Capitol for around half an hour before leaving. Riddle also took a book belonging to the parliamentarian, which he subsequently sold for $40. Furthermore, Riddle stole a Fox News football from the office, though he tossed it aside as he exited the Capitol. In an interview with NBC 10 Boston, Riddle stated that he poured a glass of wine and watched it all unfold. He condemned the rioters committing violent acts, stating that those psychopaths are going around breaking things and hurting people. Those psychopaths going around breaking things and hurting people can rot in hell. Riddle also provided photos and videos of himself and other people inside and outside of the Capitol to NBC 10 Boston. On January 22nd, 2021, Riddle's residence in Keene, New Hampshire was searched by the FBI. Riddle agreed to an interview with FBI agents in which he admitted to deleting some messages, photos, and videos of his trip to D.C. on his phone. Riddle was arrested in Bedford, New Hampshire on February 8th, 2021. At the time of his arrest, Riddle stated that he was an obsessor of Trump's. Let me see what you're saying so I don't fall too far behind. Let's see. I'm so glad there's at least two that have woke up. It is really good. It all starts with one, and they can inspire. They very well may inspire others who want to do the same thing but are afraid to, because you can't leave a cult. It's not safe. It's just not safe. That woman Pamela said that she had death threats. Riddle was charged with knowingly entering a restricted building. Yeah, hon?
Are you going to be done by 4?
Sure. All right. Let's see. Where were we? Riddle was charged with knowingly entering a restricted building. Violent entry and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds and theft of government property. On April 20th, 2021, Riddle pleaded not guilty to all charges. On November 18th, 2021, he entered a plea agreement pleading guilty to charges of theft of government property and parading, demonstrating, or picketing in a Capitol building, both misdemeanors. On April 4th, 2022, and we'll just go on for a few more minutes. I have to wrap up. Riddle was sentenced to 90 days in jail, followed by 3-year probation, including 60 hours of community service and $750 in restitution. His lawyers had asked for 30 months of probation, followed by community service. After announcing his candidacy for New Hampshire's 2nd Congressional District, Riddle wrote an article for the Keene Centennial in which he apologized to New Hampshire residents for the Capitol attack being unsuccessful, stating, "I'm sorry our insurrection failed. Hopefully it gets better next time." In an interview with the New Hampshire Public Radio, Riddle stated that he stopped supporting Donald Trump shortly after his release from prison, when Trump had been indicted for falsifying business records, and encouraged his supporters to protest despite the events of January 6th. On the first day of his second presidency, Trump pardoned Riddle, despite the veteran declining one. On January 23rd, 2025, Riddle sent the U.S. Department of Justice an email rejecting his pardon. According to Riddle, he was struggling with alcoholism at the time of the Capitol riot, and part of his probation included mandatory alcohol treatment. Riddle told ABC News, "I'm guilty of the crimes I have committed and accept the consequences. It is thanks to those consequences I now have a happy and fruitful existence. He also expressed resentment toward Trump, stating, I don't need to obsess over a narcissistic bully to feel better about myself. Trump can shove this pardon up his ass. Although Riddle remains a Republican, he voted for Kamala Harris in the 2024 U.S. presidential election and donated to her campaign. He was an unsuccessful candidate to represent New Hampshire's 2nd congressional district in the U.S. House of Representatives in 2022 and 24. He placed 9th in the Republican primary on September 10th, 2024, receiving 1.4% of the vote. In a Ballotpedia survey, Riddle described himself as a recently released J6 political prisoner and identified Jesus as his only endorsement. Riddle stated that he had intended to run against Democratic incumbent Annie Kuster, initially believing her to be a state representative. Upon being told that Kuster was a member of Congress, Riddle stated, oh, well, I guess I will have to run for that then. Kuster ultimately did not run for re-election. And that's about all I wanted to read to you guys about all of that. I probably have to leave too. Tornado warning. No way, Annabes. Crazy. So yeah, we'll wrap up. I hope that you fare well. That is nuts. Wow. So let me just see if there's anything to add before wrapping up. So we've gone for over an hour. So that's like over 2.5 hours altogether. At least it's divided up into 2 parts. I just hope that the first part doesn't get deleted. Dang it. Crazy. Yeah, I think I've pretty much made all the statements that I wanted to make today. And I wanted to clarify, what was it that I was talking about in yesterday's video, that I wasn't sure if it was the knitting cult lady that said it, or maybe one of the content creators on the If I've Had It channel. And now I don't remember what the quote was, but I will remember what that is and try to talk about it maybe in my next video. Dang it. I didn't need to write it down because it was so obvious, right? Yeah. Like I said, the brain goes blank. It was something that I said in yesterday's video. You don't happen to remember, do you, Annabes? That I said, I think it was I called her the cult knitting lady. Her channel is called the Knitting Cult Lady. She's freaking awesome. And then we both love those two on the I've Had It YouTube channel. The two Oklahoma housewives. They were from like a reality television show, I think called Oklahoma Housewives or something like that. Jennifer is one of them, and then the other one goes by Pumps. And they're both just like really smart, really spunky. And whatever it was that was said on one of those 2 channels, I'm not remembering. And it doesn't look like you're remembering either. You're my backup, girl. So, yeah, I'll remember, and then I will write it down and put it in tomorrow's video. Cool. I haven't seen her. Gotta go. Siren now. Okay. Peace out. Love and light. Stay safe. And thanks so much for being here. Drink your water, everybody. Eat your veggies and stay super safe, especially if you have a tornado siren. Take it seriously. All right. See you on the next one. And have a great day.